disagree with the grade.
So if you do, just shoot me a note. I can go back in and look and see. A couple of you have sent emails already. I thought I did a pretty, well, I did do a pretty good job of putting comments on your exams when I graded them, but I forgot to put a couple comments on people's exams, and they said, dude, you took 5 points off and all I see is the word awesome. So clearly what I did was I forgot to put the comment pointing to where the 5 points was lost. So I gotta go back in and look at that. So, and it's okay, it's one of those statistical things. I only hear when something goes wrong. I don't hear when things go right. So the fact that I didn't have 120 emails in my inbox going, you son of a bitch, means I probably got most of you and I missed about 4 or 5 of you, and we'll clean the 4 or 5. I'm viewing the whole thing differently now. Now that I understand how Blackboard works, I only hear from those who are pissed, and that's good. That's good. That means we clear up the ones that are upset, the ones that are happy or at least content, happily take the grades. That doesn't mean you have to accept if you think you did something right and you got marked off. That means you let me know. I take another look, second pass. The second pass filter picks up any mistakes from the first pass filter, which is not perfect.
Is it kind of like a pass line bet?
No, because you don't lose your money.
Okay.
You don't lose your money. You actually pick up points. It's like a reverse pass line bet, if you will. So,
Do you lose money?
so let me know if you see something that you don't agree with. I'll take a look, happily. Cool? All right, so that was, don't worry about the grading. Did I have quizzes up this week? I did, didn't I?
Yes.
Did anybody do them?
One.
Okay, totally fine. Totally, no, to hell with your quizzes. I brought an in-class one for today. I brought an in-class one for us to do today. Those count towards the 10. Yeah, Sandy, you can, can't you?
Well, because you give the answers, so there's new ones, but
Right.
if none of us do the quizzes, you should just move them into the next one.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see. I heard you say we're averaging 1 per week, therefore you can just do 2 here and count 1 now and 1 then.
I kind of do a project.
I see what you're saying. Oh, speaking of which, Sandy, thank you for bringing that up. I might not, it depends on time. Some family stuff came up, and I'm not sure I'm going to have time to record solution videos this week for the quizzes. I don't know if anybody lives and breathes by those things. Judging from the views, you don't. But if anybody needs them, I'll get them up next week. I just don't think I'm going to have time this week to get to them. Needed them today, sorry. Needed them yesterday.
Yeah.
So, I will try to get at least today's videos up before the weekend, hopefully. But if not, I'll get them caught up on Monday. Not that huge, it's not like there's a huge time crunch anyway. We got kind of loose timelines around here as well.
Are you okay?
Oh, fine. It's not me personally. Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, it's not me personally yet. I've stopped sleeping, so that could be.
Disregard sleep required coffee.
Sleep. It's like thanks to modern chemistry, sleep is not optional. Anything else? Administrative wise, I'll have quizzes posted today for you guys for next week. Which ones are they going to be? I'm thinking an outliers quiz.
Can you get an easy one?
I don't know what easy means.
Yeah, he kind of explains everything.
I don't know what easy means. That's a good question. Speaking of which, I've redone my grading scenario for next term. See if you guys like this. Aaron says, can you put an easy one up there? And I know what he means, and I think there's some value in that idea, a lot of value actually in that idea. I'm going to have 2 classes of quizzes starting next term. Mandatories and optionals. The optionals like they are now. The mandatories, I'm going to create a whole new set of quizzes that are mandatory quizzes. Now what? Now listen to me, Linda. Listen to me.
Linda?
That's right, listen to me. Here's an example of a mandatory quiz from Central Tendency. Ready? Here are 20 numbers. 3 points, find the average. 3 points, find the median. 3 points, find the mode. Boom. That's a mandatory quiz. Not an in-depth. See, I've realized that the quizzes I tend to write tend to be extension quizzes. Like once you've mastered the idea, then you take it to the next level and show how it applies to the media or your world around you. And I love that idea, and I still think you should pick some of those to do. But I'm realizing that I'm skipping over on the quiz area, the mandatory ideas, like can you actually take a bunch of numbers and find their average? I mean, the assumption is you can when you do the quizzes you do. But if you're lost on that particular part, then you gotta do 2 things at once. Taryn, yes?
So do you have to do more than 10 then?
I haven't worked out the numbers yet. That's my idea. So Aaron, I'm approaching your idea a bit more next time. What do you guys think from a student point of view? If they were that basic, like here's a bunch of numbers, calculate the standard deviation. And when I say calculate, use technology to give me the number. Not even to interpret the number. That's like a level 2 quiz. But just give me what S is for this data set.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think? Just think about it. I might ask you again in a couple weeks. Go ahead.
I kind of like it just because even if it's that simple, it's more like a review. Because I
Yes.
can stand and do any of the quizzes
Snoop?
working on the.
Yes. Right. So there are very quick check-in assessments. Drummer-wise, I always think about how I learned how to play the drums. I always tie it back to that because I think that was a pretty good way of learning. So here's a beat wrapped up in a song. Can you play that? That's like a level 2 thing. Level 1 is can you play? Right. Can you play a 4/4 time? Now, can you play Jump by Van Halen? See, that's to say it's in 4/4 time, but I'm also dating myself. It's in 4/4 time, but it's an applied 4/4 time thing. Does that make sense? So I think this pegs that gap. I think. So Aaron, I'm not far off your idea. I had the idea a couple weeks ago.
I struggled with this one.
That's why I like to choose your own adventure. You probably were. You probably were, but that's why I think this quiz, a level 1 quiz of this, here's a box plot. What percent of data is between the mid and Q1? 2 points. What percent of the data is between Q1 and Q3? 2 points. See, they really super basic, super basic. Bare minimum. If you learn that and nothing else, you get a C in the class, kind of thing.
So no more in-class quizzes?
Oh no, I would keep those going too. I like those too. Yeah, I mean, what I'm essentially doing is creating 25 to 30% more quizzes, but there's still the optionality for so many of them. You see what I'm getting at? Don't worry about the numbers. It doesn't apply to you guys. I can't change it now. It's week 6. But don't worry about the numbers. Just in theory, would that be a good thing from a student-learner perspective?
I guess.
Okay, send me emails if you think strongly one way or the other. I would like to hear that. I'm planning a survey monkey survey for you guys to take too, if you don't mind. But if anybody feels strongly one way or the other, if they think it's a really bad idea and here's why, I'd love to hear it. I just think this will plug some gaps. One of the quizzes might be, make sure you can do this on your TI, take a picture, put it in a Word document and send it to Blackboard. Can you make a histogram of this data? Take a picture of it on your TI and send it to me. Because that, I've noticed that, we're pretty good with it now, right? We're pretty good with it now, but it's taken us 6 weeks to get comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Maybe if I have a quiz or two on creating those graphs in the beginning, front load it, that might be I'm just always thinking about how you guys learn the best possible way. So this was my most recent idea. Of course, it's also fueled highly with coffee, so God only knows what.
Seems like a lot of work.
No, it does, but it's also a repository. It's a one-time upfront cost. Once I get the quizzes made, I then reuse them every turn. Does that make sense?
I think
These are super basic quizzes. Like, here's a bunch of numbers, calculate the average. Like, whatever, I can do that.
I think it'd be more work for you than us.
Well, not necessarily, because they'd be either get it right or you get it wrong. Like, did you get the average? No. Boom. Did you get the mode? No. Boom. But the thing is, they're so straightforward that you're not going to get them wrong. That's the idea. But it's not on wood. I appreciate what you're saying, Joanne. And I don't mind upfront costs. I do mind upfront costs if they don't have any benefit. My idea is that this will benefit students because of
Are people missing?
quizzes.
No, people missing the.
It's not so much that we're missing it, it's that we're dragging out the learning of the basics and kind of dragging from week 2 to week 4.
Oh, gotcha.
I want to kind of front load in week 2 so that we then have it more quickly by week 4.
Essentially get all the tools.
Getting the tools like in time with more practice. Now, the extra resources page exists. It's been there. I guarantee most of you aren't using it because there's no points attached to it. So if you went into the extra resources page, you'd be doing this. But why would you do that if there are no points attached, right? I know, you guys are students.
But if we're here, we're getting it.
Totally, but then the problem is when you walk out of here and I see you again in 5 days, what fills that gap? A quiz, perhaps. You see what I'm saying? I'm trying to glue those, we only see each other twice a week, and there's hundreds of hours half the time between we see each other. This is a plug, a Band-Aid to cover that between them. That's all I'm thinking of, Joanne. Please, Sandy.
That may be a little bit easier too, because I did Math 111 and Op 105.
Yes.
So I had to go back
Of course.
and redo a lot of stuff because probability and statistics is not.
I got you. I should log in while we're talking. No, I got you. And the thing is, I don't assume you guys coming in here took 105. I mean, a bunch of you did, but the vast minority of you took it. Most of you took 111, I know that. I just used the wrong name, it's logging in. I was gonna say, I just used the wrong name. I watched myself type a K. Rugel.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
I was gonna say, I have an organic chemistry teacher. What he does instead is he has you print off these quizzes, and then he gives you an A, B, C format through like, you know, Blackboard essentially, and he does a quiz off of that. And if you get it wrong, you just keep doing it
Until you get it right. I would have to make them automated to do that.
That's
Which is
the
what
only,
he does.
there is a little bit of complication with
No,
that.
no, and it's not so much
But at
complication.
least you get
It's
the automatic feedback.
right, and that's what I'm also thinking about the quizzes. Is it's a 1 or a 0? Did you get it right or did you get it wrong? Kind of a
Well,
thing.
these things are meant to like guide the student. anyway,
Right,
so
and the idea is I could set up Blackboard to do that, and I love that idea. And I was thinking about that too. It wouldn't be as with the projects. I can listen to your critiques on the grading and be like, okay, I like what you're saying here, and it's worth 2 points because I wasn't thinking the way you were thinking. I'm envisioning these quizzes as not having wiggle room.
Yeah.
Like this set of numbers has an average. What is it? No, that's not it. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, no,
More
which
direct,
is-
less-
Yes, and it should be, but it's still skill. It's skill building. It's like,
Right.
can I hit the snare drum? Psh, yes.
Right, right.
Can I play along with that song? Maybe I didn't play it exactly the same as it's supposed to be, but I still got through the song artfully. So it's a difference in how you look at the. So anyway, I appreciate your feedback. I want to get more of it. There's a hand going up somewhere. Riley, what you got? Okay, that's good too. All right, so thank you for that feedback. I appreciate it. Next project's not due for a couple weeks. It's called Simulations in Super Counting. It's got an Excel component, FYI. Most of the Excel.
I'm gonna deal with numbers that are bigger than 3 digits.
Oh shit, yeah. So do you remember the problem I posed for you guys a couple weeks ago? Maybe it was last week. If you shuffle a deck of cards, remember this question?
Yes.
If you don't, it's okay. If you shuffle a deck of cards,
I love shit.
He's got it like that.
count from 1 to 5.
Wow.
Deck of cards. Okay, you ready for this? There's a historic moment right here. Shitty shuffle. Hang on, it's a shitty shuffle. Why are you applauding me, Ryan? Why were you applauding me? Because that arrangement of cards has never been seen before and never will be again.
Where do you went over this?
I know we did. You didn't believe it then when I told you that.
Now I do.
Now you do because I fanned it out in front of you? Now, Davida asked the question, are we going to be dealing with more than 3-digit numbers in the next project? Yes. The reason I know, I don't know this. The reason I made the claim you've never seen that before and never will again is because the pure number of possibilities for 52 cards to be shuffled out is 52. Well, it's not quite that big. It's 52 times 51 times 50 times 49 times 40. It's called a factorial growth, which is what you'll see in your project number 3.
I remember that.
You do! Excellent, coming back. Yes, I remember this stuff now. It's behind all games of cards, poker, blackjack, all those things. But it explains to you, even if you were to shuffle once per second at the beginning of the accepted age of the universe, you still wouldn't have seen all the possibilities yet. So clearly, it's arguable that I just shuffled a completely unique shuffle. Arguable, right? Those are the kinds of numbers you're going to be dealing with in your project. But the reason I call it simulations and super counting is you don't deal with them by hand. Because you can't, right? You can't deal with these numbers by hand. I remember the scale of these numbers grows to... When were you 1,000 seconds old? When were you 1,000 seconds old? Ish.
60 times 10.
Well, you can do it in your head, right? Not many minutes after you were born. Because every minute, 60 seconds, divide 1,000 by 60, and that's how many minutes it took, right? Ish. When were you 1,000,000 seconds old?
15 minutes.
It's something like two weeks.
Years ago.
It's like 2 weeks. 2 weeks of life. Somewhere in there, you're 1,000,000 seconds old. When were you 1,000,000,000 seconds old? Hint. Some of you aren't yet.
37.
31.7 years
I got
is
the
1,000,000,000
second.
seconds. Now think about that. 1,000 is a couple minutes. 1,000 is a couple minutes.
At the,
1,000,000 is a few days. 1,000,000,000 is 32 years. What's a trillion? Well, it's 1,000 32-year periods, right? It's 1,000 32-year periods. 32,000 years? We're not going to live to a trillion.
Not-
Well played, sir. Well played, sir. Namaste. This guy. I love this guy. The size of these numbers.
give us a moment.
The size of these numbers is prohibitive. That's why I have a project on how to deal with them. Most folks don't approach them using computer simulations. They should. It's how real math is done. It's how these elections are being called. Did you watch the votes?
yes.
Measure 92 is still close to call. Even though they had, up till the end, I think still twice as much money behind the no campaign. I think even at the end it was 2 to 1, wasn't it?
50.2 to
Yeah.
49.1.
Oh, that was the votes. I meant the money going into the no campaigns. It was still almost 2 to 1 to the very end. The money was a lot more.
Yeah.
Monsanto's trying their damnedest to kill it.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like,
They're trying their damnedest.
one's bigger than the other.
But the idea is, when Nate Silver does predictions, you've heard of Nate Silver. He does the predictions on the election. He's using the same tools you guys are going to be using in that project to get the values he needs. We're going to use it today to help us analyze a gambling game called Chuck-a-Luck. So there's I mean, using computers to analyze large numbers is why they were invented. I mean, it's kind of what, think about why it's called a computer. Is it called a computer so you can check your Facebook status? Well, partially. But it computes for us. Do it right now. It's totally good. It's totally fine. But that's not why they were originally invented. They were originally invented to crunch ones and zeros all
You
day.
can learn how to win.
I can teach you why you're going to lose. The question is, can you teach me how to win? I was like, I can teach you why you're going to lose.
I'm playing the
And more on that.